Goeienaand. Good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Now, there's one thing that I find quite extraordinary, and that is we have the example of the Nelson Mandela Foundation now suggesting that Ernst Roots is in contempt of court because he dared to put a tweet out with the old South African flag. Okay, so that was the basis of him being in contempt of court. Now, what happened just yesterday with Andile Mngxitama should be before the courts the very next day. I mean, this is incredibly divisive, what this man is saying. I mean, we know he's an absolute idiot, a Fruit Loop. And we know his Black First, Land First political party has been disbanded because it is found totally against the Constitution of South Africa. But in correspondence with the paper on Tuesday, a leader of Black First, Land First, Andile Mngxitama, commenting on ongoing attacks on foreigners in South Africa, said, "One day we will turn it against the whites. Just you watch." He was asked to clarify this comment, which overlapped with another controversial statement on Twitter on Tuesday night by EFF leader Julius Malema, who called on black South Africans to redirect their anger at white monopoly capital. See how they're blaming the whites on everything? And you know they blame Jan van Riebeeck as well, don't you? I mean, that's how idiotic they are. Anyway, Mngxitama, who is currently dealing with a hate speech case brought against him by AfroForum for his public declaration last year that 5 white people should be killed for every black person should a taxi war ever break out, said that he was not calling for the apocalypse to befall the white community, but was warning that it was apparently on the cards. The current apocalyptic scene of charred buildings and carcasses of motorcycles eaten by fire is a mere dress rehearsal of an eventually awaiting white South Africans, he told the paper. The violence is currently black-centered, but its source is in fact the structure of South African economic apartheid. The structure was created by white people under apartheid and continued by black political leaders who are bought by the same white money. His comments echoed those of Malema's, with the EFF leader saying the ANC was protecting white monopoly capital. Of course, Malema's a huge beneficiary of black privilege through corruption and, of course, using white monopoly capital. His wife has the best handbags, they drink the best champagne, paid for by white monopoly capital. But that's a different story, isn't it? Mngxitama, who is highly critical of Malema and his former party, the EFF, said that the current riots in South Africa were incorrectly termed xenophobia, when it was instead a black-on-black war. Okay, you've heard it now from Mngxitama, who's saying now there is actually a civil war happening between two groups of blacks. The black-on-black war, incorrectly named xenophobia, saw a wave of violence in 2008, on the wake of which 63 black people were murdered. Since then, every 3 years or so, a wave of this violence flares up with increased intensity. The cycle is getting more regular in tandem with periods of heightened economic hardship. But these cycles are also getting bigger. It's just a matter of time before they transgress into the secured white zone and enact an anti-colonial civil war of blacks marauding hordes as anticipated by J.M. Coetzee in his memorable novel Waiting for the Barbarians. And I actually concur with that. I really do believe that who knows when it's going to happen, but you're going to have black thugs in gangs going into white areas and just doing what they do on the farms to these isolated white farmers. It's going to be absolutely shocking. And I have absolutely no doubt that's the future that's coming to South Africa. Anyway, carrying on, he says, the current waves of violence are driven more by secondary contradictions generated by the main contradiction, which remains out of the purview of the angry mob. As more black people can't put food on the table, they turn to their outsider black neighbours, with whom they are competing for the crumbs that fall from tables of those who have in fact created the hardships. The white community is totally oblivious to the fact that there is a direct correlation between its comfort and the conditions that turn swaths of blacks into warring hordes. Reports show that over 200 truck drivers murdered each other in a period of a year. They are killing each other in competition over driving jobs, which are increasingly given to non-South African drivers because they pay this foreign labour force lower wages. The South African marginalised driver takes out his anger on the foreign driver, not on the employer, who has pitted him against his brother from across the Limpopo. Again, there is a short distance to the realization of what the main source of their suffering is. The white community is secured in its belief that the black political leaders, whom it has bought to provide it with security, has the black masses under control. This is cold comfort. The coming black rage, when it implodes into the white community, shall not heed the sweet talk of the overfed political clad in Louis Vuitton from head to toe. He theorized that it would just be a matter of time before the blacks who are torching the various CBDs come to the realization that hit Steve Biko back in the 1970s. He quoted the Black Consciousness founder, Biko, saying, "Township life alone makes it a miracle for anyone to live up to adulthood. There we see a situation of absolute want, in which black will kill black to be able to survive. This is the basis of vandalism, murder, rape, and plunder that goes on while the real source of evil, white society, are suntanning on exclusive beaches or relaxing in their bourgeois homes." Mngxitama went on to say, Steve Biko had put his judgmental finger on the collective white community and associated its comforts with the absolute want that turned black people into self-destructive social beings. He said, the problem is that black people are thinking beings, and like all people are likely to connect the dots. This is a warning about a situation which is inevitable, so long as the conditions exist that give rise to this eventuality. We wait another petrol hike in the country where 10 million are without jobs. The conditions for a civil war are in place. It's just a matter of when the implosion will happen. The dress rehearsal is almost done. The time when the show will be staged in a larger theatre is imminent, Mngxitama said. Last year, President Cyril Ramaphosa suggested Mngxitama should be thought of as a lone voice in the wilderness. He added that, in his view, most South Africans were generous and kind. He said the project of non-racialism remained the best project in the country, and it should never be abandoned in favour of hatred and division. Ramaphosa added that the hatred and racism of a few people could not allow society to characterize all people in a generally prerogative way. He said, we cannot as a nation be reduced to what people who are filled with hatred in their hearts are saying. We are nation builders. Well, I'd love to see that, Ramaphosa. You're not a nation builder. The ANC have destroyed South Africa. Ramaphosa said the lessons of former late President Nelson Mandela should never be forgotten, and that racists need to be isolated and shown the error of their ways. The BLF, for its part, has called on Parliament to remove Ramaphosa as a president for, among other things, how his CR17 campaign funds were handled. The BLF was deregistered by the IEC as a political party earlier this year, due to their policy of not allowing any white person to join them. The IEC found this went against the Constitution, which is what I said at the beginning of this video. So guys, there you have it. You've got someone, an idiot like Mngxitama. He's a nobody. He's absolutely nobody. But it's very concerning when you have Julius Chameleon Malema suggesting that it's white monopoly capitalism that these warring blacks should be concentrating on. what he's actually saying, in effect, is that they should be concentrating on the white community. That's the hidden message behind what he's saying. All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video, and above all, stay safe. Bye for now.